Steam Spring Sale 2026 has got some massive deals running right now, and I have picked the 15 biggest deals of all. With that, let's talk about the first one. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which is 90% off at just $6 and some cents, and I genuinely cannot believe this game is this cheap right now. This is the sequel to Fallen Order, and in almost every way, it is the bigger, better version of that game. Your back is Cal Kestis, and the combat is even more refined here, with new stances that completely change how you approach fights. The level design is more open, the story goes to some genuinely great places, and the set pieces are absolutely blockbuster level stuff. It's a third-person Souls-influenced action game at its core, so you're parrying, dodging, and using force powers to take down enemies across some really well-designed environments. Then we got Dying Light, 90% off at $2.49, and this game holds up incredibly well even after all these years. You already know all about it. It's an action-packed first-person, open-world zombie game set in a massive quarantine zone. And what makes it stand out is the parkour system. You're vaulting over cars, jumping between rooftops, and using the whole environment as a playground to get around. During the day, you're scavenging and completing missions, but at night the infected become way more aggressive and terrifying, and suddenly just getting back to a safe house feels genuinely stressful. The co-op is also fantastic, and makes everything even more chaotic and fun. Next is Hollow Knight, 50% off at $7.49, and even at just 50% off this is still an incredible deal for one of the best indie games ever made. This is a Metroidvania set in a vast underground kingdom of insects, and everything about it is just masterfully crafted. The world of Halonist is enormous, interconnected, and full of secrets that reward exploration in ways that constantly surprise you. The combat is precise and challenging, the boss fights are some of the best in the genre, and the atmosphere is this perfect blend of beauty and melancholy that pulls you deeper the longer you play. The amount of content here is staggering for the price, and the lore is so rich and layered that people are still discovering new things about it years later. Then we have Doom 2016, 80% off at $3.99, and this is one of the greatest first-person shooters ever made. No debate. This game came out of nowhere and completely redefined what a modern Doom game could be. You are the Doomslayer, you are on Mars, demons have invaded, and your job is to destroy every single one of them as fast and as brutally as possible. The combat is relentless, aggressive, and demands that you keep moving. Hiding behind cover will get you killed, because health only drops from glory-killing enemies up close. Next we got Halo Master Chief Collection, 75% off at $10, and this is one of the most ridiculous amounts of content you can get for $10 on PC. This is all the Halo games from 1 to 4 in one package, fully remastered and optimized for PC, with all the campaigns, all the multiplayer modes, and an absolutely enormous amount of content that will keep you busy for hundreds of hours. If you grew up with Halo, this is the ultimate way to revisit all of it. And if you've never played these games before, this is the perfect starting point. Next up, we got Sifu, 75% off at $10. And this is one of the most unique and satisfying combat games to come out in recent years. This is a third-person kung fu brawler where you play as a martial arts student, hunting down the people responsible for your father's death. The combat is incredibly deep and demanding. You're parrying, dodging, and chaining strikes together in ways that feel genuinely like a martial arts film when everything clicks. And when you mess up, you don't just die, you age, getting older and more powerful with each death until eventually you run out of time completely. Then we got Lies of P, 50% off at $29, and this is honestly one of the best Souls-like games made by anyone outside of From Software. And I mean that sincerely. This is a dark retelling of Pinocchio set in a decaying Belle Epoque city, overrun by murderous puppets, and the atmosphere is absolutely stunning from start to finish. The combat is tight and demanding in all the right ways, there's a perfect guard system that rewards aggressive play, and the weapon assembly mechanic lets you combine blades and handles to build something that fits exactly how you want to fight. The story goes to some genuinely surprising places, and the world building is incredibly detailed. If you enjoy Souls-like games and haven't tried this one yet, this one is absolutely worth it. Next is Death Stranding Director's Cut, 65% off at $13. And this game is unlike literally anything else you will ever play. This is Hideo Kojima. At his most ambitious and most bizarre, you play as Sam Porter Bridges, a delivery man crossing a post-apocalyptic America, and the entire game is built around the act of traversal. You're managing your cargo, planning your routes, using ropes and ladders to navigate treacherous terrain, and slowly building infrastructure that connects isolated communities. And here's the thing, other player structures appear in your world too, so you're constantly benefiting from and contributing to this invisible cooperative network. It is meditative, strange, and deeply emotional in ways that are hard to explain until you experience it yourself. Then we have Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, 60% off at $23, and this is flat out one of the best superhero games ever made. The web swinging alone in this game is worth the price of entry. It is the most fluid, satisfying, and genuinely joyful movement system in any open world game, and traversing New York never gets old no matter how many hours you put in. But beyond the movement, the combat is excellent, the story is genuinely great with real emotional weight, and Insomniac's version of New York is one of the most beautifully realized open worlds in gaming. This is the full package. It's got a stunning open world, fantastic combat, and one of the best Spider-Man stories ever told. Next is a game you might not have played, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which is also 70% off at $20, and this is one of the most ambitious and genuinely joyful JRPGs released in years, and kinda pricier. This is the continuation of Ichiban Kasuga's story, and it takes the whole gang to Hawaii, which sounds simple, but the game uses that setting to tell this massive, emotionally rich story about family, identity, and second chances. The turn-based combat is deep and creative, the side content is absolutely enormous, and the game constantly surprises you with how much heart it has underneath all the humor and chaos. If you have any love for JRPGs or the Yakuza series, this is an obvious choice. Another pricier game with a heavy discount is Persona 3 Reload, 60% off at $23, and this is one of the most complete and lovingly crafted remakes of a classic J-RP ever made. Persona 3 is the game that really defined what the modern Persona formula is, splitting your time between living a normal high school life during the day and diving into a massive supernatural tower called Tartarus at night. You're building relationships with your classmates, managing your schedule, and slowly uncovering the dark mystery at the heart of the story, and the way those two sides of the game feed into each other is still brilliant all these years later. The Reload version rebuilds everything from the ground up with stunning visuals, a completely reworked combat system, and a mountain of quality of life improvements. Next is Undertale, 75% off at $2.49. And if you haven't played this game yet, I genuinely don't know what you're waiting for. This is one of the most creative and subversive RPGs ever made. On the surface, it looks like a simple retro-style game where you fight monsters, but the whole point of Undertale is that you don't have to fight anyone. You can talk, act, and find ways to resolve every encounter peacefully, and the game is completely aware of every choice you make. It remembers everything, and it uses that in ways that will genuinely surprise you. The writing is hilarious, the characters are unforgettable, and the soundtrack is absolutely phenomenal. Then we have Cult of the Lamb, 50% off at $12. And this game is one of the most original and addictive concepts to come out of the indie scene in recent years. You play as a lamb who gets saved from death by a mysterious dark god, and in exchange you have to build and run a cult in his name. So you're going out on Rogue Elite dungeon runs to gather resources and recruit new followers, then coming back to your base to manage your cult, building structures, performing rituals, keeping your followers fed and faithful and slightly brainwashed. The two halves complement each other perfectly, and the loop is genuinely hard to put down. The art style is adorable and deeply unsettling at the same time, which is exactly the vibe the game is going for. And then we got Nine Souls, 50% off at $15. And this is one of the most impressive indie games to come out in the last couple of years, and it still doesn't get the attention it deserves. This is a hand-drawn action platformer set in a breathtaking Taopunk world. Think ancient Chinese mythology fused with science fiction, and the art style alone is enough to make your jaw drop. But the gameplay absolutely backs it up. The combat is built around a parry and redirect system where you deflect enemy attacks and use their own energy against them, and when it clicks it feels absolutely incredible. The boss fights especially are some of the most creative and satisfying in the entire genre. If you enjoy tight, stylish, challenging action games with a world that feels completely one of a kind, this one is absolutely worth it. So yeah guys, these are some of the best deals going on Steam right now. Make sure to check these deals as soon as you can because the discounts are always near ending. There's many more games out there. Hopefully you will find some good ones. Comment down your favorite game from this list, and if you loved this video, please drop a like on it.